Hey folks, I want to welcome you to this conversation that we're having with Eliza Smith. Eliza is a mission volunteer from East Tennessee, near Bristol, Johnson City. And Eliza has been serving in Mexico at Manos Juntas for several weeks now, several months actually. And we decided we wanted to talk to her to share her experience about her time there and to tell us a little bit about what she's doing and the project. So, Eliza, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Um, so,
You
very
for having.
quickly, of course, of course. So, give us the rundown. What led you to the decision to, number one, decide to volunteer, but number two, to decide to work with Manos Juntas and the folks there in Mexico?
Absolutely. Well, for years, I wanted to do a long-term mission of some sort and have been felt called towards this level of service for quite some time. I'm very blessed in that my school and a program I'm in at my school encourages the pursuit of a summer of service. And we are then granted funds and support to pursue whatever areas we feel led to serve in. So, with that support, I was then able to look into different opportunities. And having been raised in Methodist Church, being an active member of my own home church community, I saw the Mission Volunteers experience as one that I would very much like to tackle and was thrilled that this was offered. When I attended training in Arizona this past March, I believe it was, Miss Una Jones encouraged me to look into Manos Juntas. And upon doing so, I just saw it as a location and a level of service that I truly felt catered to my passions and would be an area that I would be able to work in partnership with the incredible work that is happening here in Rio Bravo.
So tell us a little bit about the work you've been doing there. Has there been uh, uh, an area you've been working with there, a project or a program at Manos Juntas that has been particularly meaningful to you since you've been there?
Oh, absolutely. I could talk about this for hours. And I've been very blessed in that through my time here, I've gotten to dabble in many of the different outreach ministries that are going on from Monotunta's central location. I have worked with medical teams that have come in and dental teams. Those are the volunteer and mission groups that then go out and have pop-up clinics for the community. I've worked in a daycare that Manos Juntas operates that serves the local community and also functions as a self-sustaining ministry to perpetuate the continuity of Manos Juntas, the work of Manos Juntas. Additionally, I teach English lessons during the week at the Susanna Wesley Institute, which has been a great blessing and really inspired a love of teaching English in me. And I'm looking forward to potentially taking that back home once I arrive back. And as well, my probably the experience I've treasured the most would be my weekends. And from Friday to Monday, I have the great joy of going to the children's home, Casa de la Esperanza, the House of Hope, which is a home for children whose parents, for one reason or another, are unable to care for them. And so they are then offered a place to grow and to flourish, to thrive and to learn, really under the mentorship and the guidance of dedicated caregivers, tias and tios, aunts and uncles who provide them that care and just help them to grow in the faith and to grow as students as well of life and of learning of all sorts. I returned this morning. It's a very bittersweet period as I returned this morning for my final weekend there as I culminate this experience with my 8th week ending this coming Wednesday in my return home. That was just a whirlwind of emotions having that last final weekend, but just gratitude being at the forefront of those varying feelings. I cannot express fully the gratitude that I feel for having been able to interact with the kids and interact with their caregivers as well, and the lessons I learned. I read a book.
So it seems to me like, many college students, you know, I know for a lot of young folks, particularly who feel very seriously about their faith, mission is a very important part. This does seem like kind of an atypical summer break for a college student. Was this your first mission opportunity or mission journey that you've thrown yourself into, or is this something you've done in the past before?
Yes, so this actually, to your first option, it is my first mission journey and my first mission experience, really in and of itself. My church, we've been to various local ministries and done work there, and worked in partnership with what we already have in our community, but we've not had the opportunity as of yet to travel a great distance, either domestically or abroad. And certainly have done nothing of this nature individually or for such a long period of time, or relatively long for my experiences to date. And so this was definitely a leap in that sense, and I'm grateful in that I've always had a bit of an independent spirit. I think my mother would like to bring that in a bit, but I'm so grateful and that she's been very encouraging this pursuit. And additionally, my friends have as well, and we've been able to work through the experience together, because although they are not all serving, or no, their friend is serving in this location, they are all in my program through ETSU and their own Scholars Leadership Program. So we have been able to have this opportunity to go abroad or work domestically for our summer of services. And so I'm certainly not alone within my cohort, and we together can bond through that experience. And we've had group FaceTime calls, and one in particular was a great joy in that it spanned 3 continents, I believe, and about 4 different time zones, and just a group of friends encouraging one another in our friendship and in Christ. So that has
That
definitely
is,
helped to combat the shock of the experience.
well, that is fantastic and really smart to have that, to plan for that type of support. Just thinking back to my first mission journey, it was a pretty, I won't say harrowing, but it was just such an emotional roller coaster, because I felt like in such a short amount of time, I was learning all of these very big life lessons and a lot of faith lessons at once. And again, concentrated in such a short amount of time. For me, on my first mission journey, reflecting back, it was almost overwhelming. Um, has it been what you've anticipated? Do you feel like um, since you've gotten there, it's been a transformative experience for you, or is it kind of what you expected it to be?
Oh, transformative for sure. I would think there are some areas where I anticipated and it right the nail on the head. But God, as He so often does, took that picture I had painted and just made it into a mural that far exceeded my expectations. And now that stands for the triumphs and it stands for the trials as well. And so, as much as I anticipated the great joys, God multiplied those. Um, the difficulties as well were a bit more difficult than I'd anticipated. And so that worked in both directions. But His mercies, of course, accompanied both the highs and the lows in that. And I would speak as well to the fact that I planned out. I was like, okay, this is what I'll be doing, and I believe I can be of service here and work in partnership there. But there is just always, I guess, that nagging feeling in the back of your head of, am I doing enough? Is there more that I can do? And once I came to, as you said, that big life and faith lesson, um, that I am here first and foremost to be a servant and to be a student and not to change the world. That was truly that was eye-opening, because I knew coming in, and I wanted to keep a very humble attitude, and that I'm here to learn and I'm here to work in partnership. And I know that there is nothing I can do that isn't already being done by the dedicated individuals who are here. I'm just here to offer an extra set of hands. And that was really the name of Manos Juntas in and of itself was
Mhm.
advantageous to that idea, because I was continuously reminded, as Manos Juntas translates to hands together, that I'm just offering two more. That's all I can give, two more hands and a smile. And I'm very much a Spanish language learner in the beginning stages of that process. I was perpetually reminded that sometimes all I had were two hands and a smile, and my words couldn't offer too much in that department. But I could just be there, and I could be a presence. And especially working with the kids, I learned so many different ways to communicate. And I get, as you're probably sensing from these answers, a little bit long-winded at times. So to be reminded by God that, hey, you don't need to talk quite so much. There's a lot that can be said with a little. And it was very humbling to be put in situations where I couldn't say everything that I wanted to say because I lacked the vocabulary and I lacked the pronunciation. And sometimes their little ears lack the patience to deal with that as they should have. And so all I could offer was just a smile um, and a presence. And in that, I've learned so much. And throughout this experience, like I said, those triumphs and those trials have just been continuous reminders that I'm here to learn and I'm here to serve.
I know you mentioned that you had a group of friends that, you kind of on this journey have been able to stay connected and offer support to one another. What church do you have a home church, and were they supporting you in any way during this journey?
Yes, shout out to Sir Gwinsville First United Methodist. Absolutely. I'm so looking forward to returning to them this coming Sunday. And they have been just a phenomenal support. Before I even left Tennessee, I feel the prayers just being lifted up in my name, and I could feel or see the results of their tangible support as well. In that I issued a call for books, donations for books for a library for the children at the children's home, and they answered that call just in abundance. My church family, and then friends in the community as well. Just a true outpouring of blessings. And so my greeting when I arrived in Texas, as I flew into Texas before crossing the border, was just a load of books, a load of books in English for learners, for in Spanish, bilingual editions, just so many precious opportunities to share, and smiles, and in learning opportunities for these kids. Because what I realized as well very early on in my time was that while I might not have the words, these books did, and this children's Bible did, and I could read much more than I could say. And to be able to read and to be able to listen to the kids read was a great joy. I'm really thankful for that level of support from my church, and then for their continued prayers throughout as well. I'm looking forward to returning and to sharing in my experiences, and hopefully inspiring further partnership and participation from my home congregation with Manos Juntas in the future.
So how has this, I know it's hard to know where the road may take you, but has this had a big impact on how you see your call, your vocation, and where you might go next?
Well, entering into this experience, I had very much hoped for just that lightning bolt of clarity. Like, oh, I'm getting out of my standard surroundings. I'm entering a totally new atmosphere, exposed to new challenges, new people. And I'm gonna feel call and know the route that God has laid out for me. And as we so often are reminded, I am working on God's time and not my own. 8 weeks has not provided the sudden discernment I'd hoped it would, but it has given me a great sense of patience for knowing that God will provide, and for seeing his provisions so active in each and every day of this experience. I have just been reminded when I felt that I didn't have anything to offer, when I felt that I didn't quite know where to go, when I missed home, God knew just what to provide and just what to give in that moment. So just a sense that he will provide. And as I'm currently seeking guidance, having that assurance is worth the world. It did grant me a little bit more clarity as to a potential call to ministry that I've been wrestling and grappling with for several years. And that is a product largely of my exposure to different congregations, because Manos Juntas hosts different groups from across the United States and across Mexico as well, to come and serve. So to be able to speak with different members of the clergy, to be able to work with the missionaries here and with the director of Manos Juntas, Mr. Willie Berman, and speak about his experiences as a missionary here in his home country, as it's been wonderful in helping me to kind of grapple with, well, is this where God's leading me? How does he want me to serve within his church, vocationally speaking? So I do have a lot more insight into those elements. And I feel that perhaps maybe upon settling back at home, and of course working on God's timeline, I hope to gain a little bit more clarity for the steps ahead.
That's great. Thank you. One question I do want to ask, just in terms of the mission volunteer program, what would you say to someone who is thinking about or exploring a call to be a part of the mission volunteer program, or someone who's seeking to serve on a mission team? Any words of advice or wisdom or encouragement for anyone thinking about those things?
Absolutely. Well, I would say pray about it. I think that's just the standard answer. And I don't wish to use that as a cop out, but pray about it initially and take the leap. I would really, really encourage you to take that leap and for a volunteers of mission opportunity, for a week, 2 weeks, whatever span that may look like for you. Or if you're pursuing something more long term, these 8 weeks have forever changed my life. And there, as even in the trials, even in the valleys, there's not been a singular moment where I've regretted it. It has just been an immense abundance of gratitude. And that's really been the theme of my summer, just gratitude for the opportunity, for the people, and the modes that have enabled me to pursue it. I would say absolutely take that leap. I'm so thankful for the support I received going into it. There's a training involved, and there are great voices that really encourage you in getting your heart right with God before you take the journey, and also knowing that you're doing it for the right reasons as well. So I'm thankful to Miss Una Jones and her team and all of the volunteers and mission volunteer family for helping me in those initial steps on that road. And then upon arriving, it has just been hospitality beyond measure. And that's what to speak of Manos Juntas is to speak of a community and a true network, and truly hands together in every sense of the word. And these are lessons and these are memories that I know I'll carry with me for my whole life long. And I keep telling my mom, I said, Mom, I can't wait to get back and just look through all my pictures. I'm going to tell you all these stories, and you're just gonna, want me to shut up about my experiences, but I won't be able to, because I have so much to share.
Well, thank you for taking the time to share. And I know going home is certainly still part of the journey. And so we will be praying for you and with you as you complete that journey and start into the next one, wherever that might take you. But thank you for taking the time to share and share about your experience with this program. And we hope that your final days are great ones that bring you lasting memories.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate this opportunity.
Right.
And
Thank you.
opportunity to share.